I thought maybe Jake told you
Oh,
that. Or something.
Are you going to try to sneak him in a couple of games before Four Nations?
No.
I don't think so.
What's the point then?
Yeah, I think it's just ease your way back.
to
Sooner you
kind
can
of-
get doing it, the better.
Yeah, I think it's geared up to
Come
when
back on
everybody
the
returns.
22nd,
22nd.
21st, second.
Like, you're just one of the things we talked about before the year with the worry with these two goalies was the lack of games they've started, like in their careers, and like the amount they've actually played in a full season. So we're now at 21 starts for Joseph Wall.
Yeah.
Just you don't want to hammer down here.
There's no hammering.
Yes,
down.
we're entering into the unknown. Like we're close to never.
You might need the unknown. You might
You're
need to
definitely
find
gonna
what's-
need-
You need to make it known.
You're going to need the unknown, but pushing them to play 3 games in a week in January when you're 4 points clear of first place, and if you lose him, you're hooped. I don't necessarily see the value in that. If you were going to do it, you started Hildeby Thursday night in Carolina against a better team, Wall at home. That's what I wanted to do. But I understand them backing off Wall. I really do.
I am curious what they're going to do between Hildeby. Like Murray hasn't been lighting it up in the American League, if I'm not mistaken. Hildeby, wouldn't blame him for a poor performance per se, but like always just kind of want him to make another save. Looks a little uncomfortable. Doesn't seem quite NHL ready to me.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as things tighten up, he doesn't have the calmness yet as a NHL kind of pro to handle it for me. And I think there's maybe some good stretches where he can show promise and potential, and you just want to harness that and keep it,
Right.
going well in the minors. But to stick him now into some important starts, I'm not sure he's ready for that, or the Leafs should be willing to put him in that position. If the margin between Matt Murray and him are minimal, bring up the guy that can keep it calm.
I don't know.
Better in Matt Murray.
Might be better for Hildeby to develop. To me, it's like you're not going to trade for another goalie.
He has to win. He has to win, and he has to look good.
I think
Hildeby.
I think Hildeby's looked better than Murray looked the 2 games.
Even if that's true, like you're not going to win in playoffs,
But
if you got one of these guys,
this
right?
guy also coming off 2 major
course.
surgeries and has had less than a handful of games.
Totally acknowledge
So-
that. But that's like right now, if you're going to the who's been better in their games, like neither of them been great, but I think I'd give the nod to
The
Hildeby.
only reason Hildeby's up now is to buy Matt Murray time to get more starts in.
And-
It's not because he's the better goalie right now or the guy that they envision to hold that spot if
that right?
anything happens.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. It just feels like, I've thought, like, should they trade for a better third stringer given how injury prone these other 2 guys are? But if you get to playoffs and you're turning to that third string guy, the David Rittich that you trade a 3rd round pick for or whatever, you're cooked. So, yeah, whoever it is, Hildeby or Murray, you're right. Are they going to be that different in performance? Probably not. Might as well let Hildeby start more in the minors.
Yeah, I'm just seeing Matt Murray has played 4 games since in the new year. 2-3-2-2 goals against. Just not. That's just in the AHL. So they're playing him a lot in the AHL.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, let's get to some Brad Treliving
Yeah.
quotes because he met the media, and I'm not sure
this was yesterday.
why.
Halfway point.
Halfway point.
Halfway point.
And he was probably requested or people wanted to hear from him. So
Well, I
I guess that was it.
A lot of the team's general managers have been talking. Like Hughes did it in Montreal. I think
All right.
Steos talked. Like I think it's just kind of like
Yeah,
something you
okay.
do.
That's fair.
It's better than never hearing from them. Like it
So
was
where do you
last
want to
week.
go first? On
we got here?
center depth seems to have taken the most attention.
Power play 2. But yeah, let's start
Let's
with
start-
your topic there.
Yeah, we'll go with clip 2.
We'll go with clip 2.
I think we got depth. We got lots of guys that can play the position. Is it an area that we continue to try to, upgrade? I mean, I would say this. The guys at the top of the food chain are pretty darn good, like Austin and how can you talk anything but positively the year John's had, right? Like, so to say you're going to go and get somebody above that, it's just not. I don't think that's realistic. Is there ways that we can, continue to look at adding to that? Sure. I think there's some depth there. Is that an area that we'd like to continue to look at? Sure, it's one, but we probably, along with about 15 or 18 other teams, are looking at center depth. So it seems to be a position du jour.
I mean, we knew they needed someone, so we've gone through the list of names. There's not that many names and a bunch of teams vying for people like this.
Well, the thing to me is when you look at the standings, not a lot of sellers.
Well,
Like,
that's a
the-
problem.
the
that
East-
there's so much parity.
The East, I mean, the West is more so. I think there's more defined sellers in the Western Conference. But in the Eastern Conference, like every team outside of Buffalo can kind of convince themselves that they might have a chance to get in there.
You think Ryan O'Reilly would come back to Toronto?
No.
I don't either.
No, and Elliott had a report on him Saturday night that said he'll be treated almost like he's got a no-move clause. And I don't think I think there was a lot of conversations between Ryan O'Reilly and Nashville when he decided to sign that, like, I'm not jumping around. I'm not looking to be someone's savior again in March. To me, Nashville's maybe looking at this season as a write-off, but one that they can come back the following year and make the playoffs again or
Right.
compete.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're not just going to be bad
They
now.
they think that they could be Washington.
Yeah.
The Washington Capitals. So he's not going anywhere.
But it does spell trouble for Pontus Holmberg, I think. Out of the lineup as one of the depth center guys they've tried in various spots. They seem to have reached a conclusion here that they're not sure they can trust him.
And I get it. And,
Or they can trust him
Brad,
just to not
alluded to Matthews and John Tavares. But, John's not having Austin's having a year where it's not hitting on all cylinders. And, at this point, forget the numbers, forget about anything. You just hope that his best hockey will come in the spring, right? Where he'll hit that high level of he's just unstoppable. And we've seen him putting the puck in the net in the past. John Tavares, he said he's having an unbelievable season or a great season, and he has. But John's kind of been known as a guy that gets maybe a little tired towards the latter part of the season. His numbers are always stronger in the front half than the back half. And you just got to make sure that when the centerman comes in, he can be one of those guys that can be almost a 2B, not a definitive Boyle, Plekanec at the end of his career. They're talking about Yanni Gord. To me, that's like bottom 6. They need somebody just in case something happens to John, gets hurt, Austin's back, flares up, whatever the case is, that a guy that can go in there and kind of hold his own. That's, to me, is the centerman that they need, not a definitive third or fourth liner.
Yeah, it's so funny though, Kip. Like we do these sort of things and talk about what they need, and I agree with that entirely. But it's a matter of running through it. And are we just talking about Brock Nelson? Like and when you narrow it down to who's there for you,
Today,
He will
tough.
be the hottest commodity at center ice.
But I've said this to you before. We talked about passing yesterday. To me, he's another guy who shoots it in the net from the net front.
Yeah.
It's another. Yes, it's the best bet, and at some point you're going to have to just do what you do and hope it clicks. But
there's slim pickings, right? Beggars can't be choosers right now.
Any interest in Taylor Hall at left wing? You don't like their left wing?
No.
Nope.
Well, no. I think just from listening to that,
Granlund out of San Jose.
listening to that clip, it just struck me that he's like, it's not going to be. Basically, he's like, it's not going to be Kadri, JT Miller, or Brock Nelson. Is what that kind of clip said to me. That he's looking for
talking up the other
he's
two?
looking. Well, no, that he's just like, they're not going to be better than those two guys, and they're having they're great players. It's hard to be above that. It feels like they're depending on him to be the second line center in Tavares.
Any significance out of what he said about Austin and his participation in Four Nations?
No, just basically no news, and we'll see when time comes.
Yeah, he didn't really like shoot it down or whatever, but yeah, You want to listen to the power play one? I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Which you tell me. You
Oh,
click
we haven't
these.
even talked about John Klingberg.
Oh my God.
Klingberg
Yeah.
to Toronto
Oh yeah. We
rumor.
should talk about that quickly.
Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin to Los Angeles Kings, possible deal with Toronto Maple Leafs. In an interesting twist in the NHL trade market, new rumors are emerging about Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin potentially being traded to the Los Angeles Kings. Sources indicate that the Kings, who have been one of the most active teams in recent weeks, are evaluating the possibility of bolstering their defense with Beauchemin, while Versteeg, who brings strong offensive capabilities, could be a key piece in a larger trade. This move becomes even more intriguing considering the Kings' surplus of offensive pieces available for trade, exactly what the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking for to strengthen their roster. It's speculated that with Versteeg included in the deal, the Leafs could be targeting a possible addition like Wayne Simmons, along with a mid-range draft pick. This move makes sense given Simmons' struggles this season, as he has yet to find his top form on the ice. To add more drama to the trade talk, there are even whispers that veteran defenseman Tomas Kaberle could be included, opening the door for a potential pursuit of Brayden Schenn. If completed, this move could have a significant impact on reshaping the Leafs lines and adding more depth to the team. Stay tuned for updates to see if these trades come to fruition and how they might shape the future of Toronto and Los Angeles this season. In an interesting twist in the NHL trade market, new rumors are emerging about Chris Versteeg and Francois Beauchemin potentially being traded to the Los Angeles Kings. Sources indicate that the Kings, who have been one of the most active teams in recent weeks, are evaluating the possibility of bolstering their defense with Beauchemin, while Versteeg, who brings strong offensive capabilities, could be a key piece in a larger trade. This move becomes even more intriguing considering the Kings' surplus of offensive pieces available for trade, exactly what the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking for to strengthen their roster. It's speculated that with Versteeg included in the deal, the Leafs could be targeting a possible addition like Wayne Simmons, along with a mid-range draft pick. This move makes sense given Simmons' struggles this season, as he has yet to find his top form on the ice. To add more drama to the trade talk, there are even whispers that veteran defenseman Tomas Kaberle could be included, opening the door for a potential pursuit of Brayden Schenn. If completed, this move could have a significant impact on reshaping the Leafs lines and adding more depth to the team. The Kings' situation is complex, as they are in the midst of a transitional period. Their aging roster, which includes a core group that led them to several successful playoff campaigns in the past, has seen some struggles in recent seasons. While there's a clear need for defensive help, Los Angeles may also want to improve their offensive consistency in order to make a deep playoff push. The combination of Beauchemin's defensive reliability and Versteeg's offensive upside could help the Kings balance their lineup. From the Leafs' perspective, this potential deal is about retooling for the future. The team is in a position to compete, but they also need to solidify certain areas on the ice. Adding a player like Wayne Simmons could provide the grit and scoring touch that the team has been missing. Furthermore, acquiring a mid-range draft pick could help with future team-building efforts, as Toronto looks to remain competitive while still developing young talent. The inclusion of Kaberle in the trade package could be a strategic move for both teams. The veteran defenseman, who has been with the Leafs for a long time, has seen his role diminished in recent seasons. However, his experience and offensive abilities could be a valuable asset for Los Angeles, who could use a steady presence on the blue line to help their younger players develop. The talk surrounding Brayden Schenn's potential involvement in the deal adds an intriguing layer to the negotiations. Schenn, a versatile forward, has shown flashes of brilliance but has been inconsistent at times. If the Leafs are able to land him, it could be a great opportunity for both the player and the team to find success together. Schenn's physicality, two-way game, and leadership could be exactly what the Leafs need to bolster their forward group. While the trade market can be volatile and unpredictable, these rumors suggest that both the Kings and Leafs are preparing for significant changes. For Toronto, this could mark the beginning of a new era, with a focus on adding more experience and depth. For Los Angeles, the trade could be a chance to retool and address some of the weaknesses in their lineup, while still competing for a playoff spot this season. Of course, as with any trade rumors, it's important to remember that these discussions are fluid and can evolve quickly. There are many moving parts in these types of negotiations, and both teams will likely have to weigh their options carefully before making any final decisions. It's also possible that other teams could enter the fray, further complicating the situation. In the coming days, fans of both teams will be watching closely to see if any concrete moves are made. The NHL trade deadline is fast approaching, and teams are scrambling to position themselves for a successful postseason. Whether this rumored deal materializes or not, the possibility of a major trade between the Leafs and Kings will certainly keep fans on edge as the season continues to unfold. The trade talks involving Versteeg, Boschman, and potentially Simmons or Shen highlight the delicate balance that NHL teams must strike between immediate success and long-term growth. Both the Leafs and Kings are trying to find that balance, and this rumored deal could ultimately serve as a